Welcome back, boys and girls. Brand new episode of the Hey Big Head Show coming at you. Julie is here. She's off camera today. She's back there running the board. We will miss you. But we do have a guest on today, and I'm pretty excited about it. But before I introduce him, I want to build up, you know? So anybody that knows me, they know that I'm not an outdoorsy person at all. I am a city guy through and through. Give me the high rise, give me all the amenities that come with it. But I did have a weekend stay at Ofland Escalante in southern Utah. It's like an outdoor boutique camping hotel. And let me tell you something, it was probably it was the best outdoor trip I've ever had. And it was absolutely a top 5 trip for me just in the entirety of my life. It was such a good trip that I invited the CEO of Ofland Hotels to come on our show and talk more about it. So Noah Ellis, CEO of Ofland Hotels, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So again, Noah, I'm going to reemphasize this. If I mispronounce Ofland, please correct me because I want it to be correct.
Not a shot.
You're not gonna
0% chance that happens.
After everything you and I have been through,
Yeah,
I thought we
so
were like
much.
this. That's okay. Now I want to make sure that I touch on all the points here because I don't want to miss anything. So I'm going to read off this. If I'm incorrect anywhere, feel free to correct me. Ofland Escalante in southern Utah. It's an outdoor boutique hotel. You have cabins, you got Airstreams, you have campsites, you got a drive-in theater, you got food trucks, you got pools, you got hot tubs, you have fire pits. I mean, you really have everything you need that attracts the outdoorsy types, but also the amenities that maybe the people who aren't outdoorsy would want to have when they're staying on their vacation.
Basically, if you're trying to get out into nature to some degree, get out of town and see, a part of Utah that is really undervisited and truly stunning, and you don't want to stay necessarily like in a tent, be it your own or some other sort of glamping option. And you don't want to stay in either a mom and pop motel, a Best Western, some big box thing with no personality.
Sure.
That's kind of where we fit in, like the same way that, now, but if you think about 25, 30 years ago, if you wanted to stay in a really, cool part in New York or any major city, you just go find a boutique hotel and it has the character of like the place you're staying, not the city as a whole, not like nature as a whole for us, but like that micro neighborhood. And so that's kind of how we look at it. So, it's not an Airbnb, like there's a front desk, there's housekeeping, there's service, there's kind of all the things you need. It's like very much a hotel. It's safe, it's secure, the doors lock.
Yeah.
But just instead of being one big building, just each of our rooms is its own structure, Airstream cabin, kind of what have you.
You sold me. I already went there, and I'm already sold again.
Yeah, that's how good I am.
That's how good you are. How long have you been at that location?
So I joined with my partner, Charles, who is the founder. So I joined right as it was opening in 2021. It opened sort of March 2021, kind of, towards the tail end of development. And then we were kind of finishing it up, and we've been improving it, adding some of like the deluxe cabins that have their own private outdoor showers and, tweaking. We added a food truck after the first year, I think. Sort of constant refinement. I think at about May of 2025 is when sort of it hit its kind of period of stasis where like we're not adding more rooms, we're not messing around, we just try to make it better.
How many rooms or locations?
There's 52 rooms, so there's 52 rooms and 5 campsites.
So what did I stayed in like the
Deluxe cabin.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's there's these tiny cabins that are really architecturally beautiful and vintage Airstreams that we've gutted. Those are they have shared bathrooms. So there's these spa quality outdoor and indoor shared bathhouses that have, private showers with heaters, whether you're indoor or outdoor, really beautiful, Dyson hair dryers, things like that. The unit you stayed in, those were the new rooms that we added. So we added 20 of those over between 2024 and 2024 and 2025, 2023 and 2024, sorry.
Okay.
And those have private ensuite bathrooms with a connected outdoor shower. The only shower is outdoors, but it's, rainfall shower head, heater, the whole nine. So.
And let me just say, for anybody out there listening, if you've never showered outdoors, it's a phenomenal feeling.
It's unbelievable.
It's fantastic.
We like it. It's like a little bit of, depending on when you go, right? I mean, there are times where like, I'll stay before we open, and I'll be like, "This has got to be the worst fucking idea ever."
Why did I do
this? But we really believe in it because, like, even when it's cold, you sort of like open the door to the outdoor shower, you crank on the heater, you get the hot water running, you go back inside, a couple minutes later you come out, and it's this steamy shower, you got the stars overhead. It's absolutely beautiful. And I think there's it's nice to have, especially when you're doing outdoor stuff, a little bit of tension that then gets relieved, right? So you're like a little bit worried, you're there, you eventually have to take a shower, it's like, am I going to like this or not? And then you don't have a choice, right? If we gave indoor showers, nobody would use the outdoor showers.
Right.
And then, you get under it and you're just like, this is amazing. I don't want to leave.
Yes.
Like we get a lot of converts that way.
Yeah. The only downfall of me currently living in an apartment complex is that there's no outdoor shower that's private.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. There are outdoor showers, but
not unless you want to register on something.
Exactly. I don't want to be on another list. That's a whole other thing. But I want to learn a little bit more about you before we get more into everything that Escalante has to offer. So you've been in the hospitality industry your whole life, basically, right?
Yeah.
From what, 13, 14?
When I was 13, I got a job washing dishes in this small community in Western New York. I grew up in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And then ended up cooking, and then cooked through college, and then moved out to Vegas, cooked at Caesars for a moment, and then worked for the Light Group in Las Vegas, and then Michael Mina based here. Then I moved to LA in 2010.
Sure.
And then I moved back to Las Vegas in about 2022.
Do you think everybody should work in the hospitality industry at least once in their life?
I don't know, hospitality. I think certainly sort of retail, right? Something that is guest facing, or if you work in the back of house, something that's, manufacturing or down and dirty, right? Yeah. Whether it's housekeeping, washing dishes, building something. And I think it's great to take care of people and understand how they can be at their best and how they can be at their worst. And, you see them for such a glimmer in time that I learn a lot dealing with guests, right? Yes. And I always have, where, something that's so small to you could have a profound impact on them, someone's anniversary, a special occasion, who knows what it is, if you're a server, it's just another table, but that's a big deal. And then likewise, for them, you're just another meal, but they could do something really shitty and they could totally wreck someone on your team's day, and week, and whatever it is. And I think it just gives you really good perspective.
It's so funny. I worked in the hospital. I worked in the hospitality. I was a server and manager for a long time, and there are just a handful of guests that gave me such a bad experience that I still remember to this day. 20 years later, it's still stuck in my mind. But then I also remember the good ones too. It's funny how something so minuscule and something that's just another day in the life for one of the parties, it turns out to be a story that you tell for decades and decades.
Yeah, you never know the impact in either direction that,
exactly.
Something so small that you do or don't do can have on people.
So for somebody that has been in the industry for almost your entire life, what's something that you take away, or something that you live by, and the reason you are where you are today? I mean, you're obviously very successful. A lot of people are going to tune in and want to learn about, how do I get to where he is? So what's just one piece of information that you would give if somebody's like, hey, they're just getting started in the industry and they want
hospitality in particular?
In hospitality, yeah.
It took me a long time to learn this. I think I was always very product focused, whether I was on the front or back of house. So I was thinking about what we do in terms of the concept and the physical kind of product that we give to people, which, includes the room, the environment, all that. But you're taking care of people. So the something that really turned it around for me, and more recently than I'd like to admit, is realizing probably 8 years ago, which is way too late, is just make people happy.
Sure.
That's all you got to do. They're at the tip of the spear. There are restaurants and hotels and experiences that are about the artist. And a former partner of mine who's a phenomenally talented chef, he lives at the tip of that spear, and people will come seek you because they want your vision. For the rest, the other 99.99% of us, sure, you're there to make people happy. There's the hierarchy of needs, and we are feeding or giving people shelter or water, whatever that is. But really, it's our job to just make people happy. So zoom out and say, if I do this, both grand strategy and in the moment, does this make this guest happy? It's kind of that easy. And I think if you can frame it that way, you'll do well, because we're in the hospitality business. Mm-hmm. And so if we make people happy, everything works, revenue goes up, that makes it easier to be profitable. It's way better to work on a team on any level where the guests are happy, right? I mean, like, I don't think anyone wants to, not anyone, but I don't think, especially, pre-COVID where you couldn't get refunds, like nobody wanted to work in customer service at an airport.
Sure.
Answering the phone, like where everyone's just pissed at you.
Yeah.
So yeah, make people happy.
Love that. Before Ofland, you worked for a company called Arrive, is that correct?
Yeah, Arrive Hotels.
What, and from the notes that we have, you grew it from one location to 5. How integral were you in that?
Oh, not at all.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
Don't be so humble.
I did nothing useful.
Kid.
No, so I joined, and we had one hotel in Palm Springs.
Okay.
And it's sort of like, as with a lot of, it was a big project. So only 32 rooms, but it was basically a block in North Palm Springs. So it's this 32-room hotel with a big outdoor pool, with a big pool, an outdoor restaurant, an event space next door, and then another restaurant that was sort of totally separate. And so the other restaurant had just opened, and I came in and we sort of like stabilized and figured out the Palm Springs property. That one had been doing a lot of revenue and a lot of business, but like, I think they just opened and been overwhelmed, and you got to kind of figure it out. Then Austin was just under construction, and then in the meantime, we did a property in Wilmington, a hotel in Memphis, and then a hotel in Austin, and then we opened up Phoenix right after, like in mid 2020, and then we sold.
So is your specialty boutique hotels?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was a restaurant guy first. The reason at Arrive, for 5 hotels, we had a total, and Austin had 83 rooms. Phoenix had, I think, 78. Wilmington, North Carolina had like low 40s. Memphis had, I think, like 60 something. And so 5 of those properties had between them, I think, 11 or 12 F&B venues. Yeah. Like we were more than half food and beverage revenue in the beginning. So I think, I've worked at the Bellagio, I worked with Michael Mina, so we were in sort of very top tier, high end, non-boutique hospitality hotels, hospitality properties. I certainly do better in boutique hotels. Yeah. Like I spent a lot of time not having, going from suit and tie to suit, no tie, to jeans and a jacket, to jeans, no jacket, to jeans and a t-shirt, to like shorts and flip flops.
Is it easier to work in a boutique hotel? Like less, I guess, decision makers or less?
No, I think it really depends. If you think about like a boutique hotel, if you've come from upscale, like luxury, then it becomes easier because you kind of understand what the high end wants, and then you get to like let your hair down, figuratively in my case. Although I used to have hair back then. But you get to like let your hair down, and you can dress and be more casual. Sure. But you understand what 5-star looks like.
You still have that standard that you set for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So maybe I'm not going to be as totally polished. Maybe you're not calling people sir. You're not wearing a suit. In a restaurant, you don't necessarily need to like, drop from the left and clear from the right. Right. You can, but you're anticipating needs. You know how to really wow people. If someone asks for, something or makes a reference to some place they've been, you speak that language, you're fluent in that luxury. Yes. And I think that's really helpful for boutique properties. Like to have, with Michael Mina, I was really lucky. One, it was an amazing company. Yeah. But we opened these gorgeous restaurants, and we got to live in the hotels. Like, so you check into a Fairmont, to Four Seasons, for 3 months. Wow. So you really you meet the staff, you sort of understand it, but like you get to experience the luxury. And so you just very quickly understand kind of like, oh, this person is maybe not saying this, but this is kind of like what they want.
What was it like? Because you're maybe the second, maybe third guest that we've had on that's worked under Michael.
Yeah, James, right?
James. And was there somebody else, Julie? Off the top of my head, I can't think of it, but definitely James.
James and I work together.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Love him.
Oh, that's great.
So
He's such a great guy.
He really is.
Even not even just the chef thing, just him as a person. He's just such a genuine guy. He has so many one-liners from that episode that we still use today. I think
he's such a funny James Trees story.
Let's hear it, please.
So my first restaurant that I owned with my partner Jordan in LA was called Red Medicine, and James came by like 5 nights a week and would sit at the bar, which amazing guy, because at that point, like every dollar mattered, and he insisted on paying full price for everything. Yep. And I don't know if he wasn't drinking at all or wasn't drinking a lot or whatever it was. And so he would drink iced teas. And we were trying to be this like for the people restaurant in the beginning. And so, this like iced tea was $2 and it was unlimited refills. It turned out I'd selected this unbelievable iced tea from Intelligentsia where like my cost on a single glass was like $1.40. Okay. And for being I was the former beverage director of Michael Mina, like corporate, like I don't know how I didn't bother costing this out. It's like, it's iced tea. Like what could it do? Sure. And James would drink like 3 quarts of this stuff. And it turned out like that was one thing where like it showed up on the P&L and it took me like 8 months to figure it out. And I was like, holy shit, like this guy through his nightly iced tea consumption could really bang us up. And like, we still laugh about it. He's like, can't believe you didn't figure that out sooner. But it was like the greatest. Iron Goddess of Mercy from Intelligentsia. Phenomenal iced tea.
Really?
But yeah, I loved him. And so we were friends before we'd worked together, but we became really close.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, James is a great guy. That's so funny.
Sorry to derail it.
No,
I love that story when I think about it.
Anytime I can get a Chef James Tree story, I will gladly
I have a lot, but we're going to...
we'll save that for the members-only episodes, yeah. But what under Michael Mina, what was it like? Or at least what's something that you took away from working with him? Because everybody that has worked with him or under him says nothing but incredible things about his vision, his leadership, and
and James and I mean, there have been a lot of sort of like generations, which are probably like 3 to 5 year spans with him. And those also follow, I think, like economic times, right? So James and I were both there at the beginning of this explosion where I think in 3 years we opened 12 restaurants.
Wow.
Like it was intense. And then 08, 09 hit, so we sort of tailed that off, and I think there was a bit of time with nothing.
Yes.
But we were from the same generation, and so the company was really led by Michael and then Patrick Umel, who was, I think at the time, the vice president of ops or the president, but basically Michael's number 2, did all things front of house. And then Ari Castrati was the director of operations. And a few things. I mean, Michael is just brilliant. Like that guy sees around corners. Like there's just so many like lessons in business and strategy and taking care of people that like I picked up from him explicitly, and then other things that like years later I realized like, oh my God, that's a Michael Mina. Like just phenomenal vision, brilliant guy, great chef. And Patrick was such a good, charismatic like leader in the front of house. I mean, like, you would run through walls for that guy. Yeah. And then Ari was phenomenal, like just such service talent, and really kept the trains running on time. It was an incredible place to work. I was like just a young punk, and somehow they tolerated me. Like so many friends I had, so many of my best friends now are guys and girls I worked with then, like, which was like almost 20 years ago at this point.
Do you have a Michael Mina situation where you're the Michael Mina to somebody else?
I don't know if I could ever live up to that. I mean, like those are serious shoes. Like I don't think he didn't personally mentor me. I mean, he was much closer with the chefs. Sure. Patrick and Ari were definitely mentors. But I'd love to be at that point where like I can inspire someone or they could learn like that from me. But it was just like it was a gold mine, and like I totally didn't appreciate. I mean, I appreciated it, but only now do I realize just how good of an environment it was.
Well said.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm feeling inspired right now. I feel like there's a Michael Mina mentor-mentee relationship going on here.
Well, it's a lack of talent on this side of the table. I can't speak to the aptitude there, right? Like, we'll figure that out.
We'll work on that.
You're less of a punk than I was, I'm sure. I was such an asshole.
Why were you an asshole? What's the most asshole-ish thing you did that you want to share on camera? Give me just a little sample size of what kind of asshole Noah was.
It's been so much, but like, I don't even want to like bring this up again, but I'm going to. So you might not, you probably don't, most people don't know this, so I really don't want to bring attention to it. But so let's hope you have 0 listeners.
Sure.
Except for the sponsors. The huge audience, guys.
The only time we don't want any listeners is right now.
Yeah. So I got a little bit of a reputation in LA at my first restaurant, Red Medicine, for one of the things. Nobody should have given me a Twitter account back then. Let's just say that. So we kicked out the food critic of the LA Times, of whom there was no published picture. And before I did, I took a picture of her and published it online. That was fucking dumb.
How did you know it was her?
You kind of like knew, like talking to each other, you knew like, hey, these are things with the reservation. The phone number might show up like this. This is who her husband is. This is what he looks like. You knew, like I'd seen her working at another restaurant. Yeah. There was just no photo. So that was a real dick move. And then I had plenty of others that like, you become the news cycle. Yeah. And it's like a real It's like being like, I imagine it's like flying in a hurricane.
That's hilarious. Did you ever see that Bradley Cooper movie?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you don't know what they look like, but you kind of, they have certain things that
Yeah,
they do.
and in most cities, I mean, this is 2010. In most cities, right? So like, I was still using a BlackBerry. Maybe like iPhone 3 was out. Like there weren't like great cameras everywhere.
Right.
In most cities, there was a picture of most of the good food critics.
Yeah, sure.
That was like circulated underground, but somehow she'd avoided it, and this
Good
was
for
just
her.
like, yeah.
Little
Like I spoke my mind on Twitter a lot, and
I'm seeing a lot of similarities. James has changed. Chef Trees
yeah,
has changed.
no, he has changed too.
Yes, but I'm seeing a lot of similarities between the two of you right here.
That's why we were friends. That's we James and I have worked together like 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah.
And I think we got along because of that.
Yeah, I get that.
Dumb attitude.
We love that. It brings for great stories.
He's talented though, so like he gets away with it.
It works out great. So everything you've taken from working alongside Chef to working under Michael to all the people that have been a part of your upbringing when it comes to your career, what are you taking from that over to Ofland?
I mean, there's so much, right? You learn a ton of little details. Like there's a lot of like, sort of like tips and tricks and little like hack type stuff that just like how to be good, I think technically. Yeah. You learn to see around corners, both from like the guest is kind of indicating this or, verbally, non-verbally, whatever, but this is actually what they mean and what they want. Here's how we surprise and delight. You learn a lot of leadership things. You think about growth.
I like the surprise and delight thing. I like that.
Yeah, I think I stole that from Kimpton when I worked there. But like that was a big thing, and they were amazing at it. One of the coolest things about my career that's total luck is there aren't very many. I mean, I haven't had a ton of like jobs, but at most of them, I haven't taken over anything that's really been existing. So I've opened. Like between, you got to count within hotels and things. And like between opening and changing concepts of existing things, like 40 something restaurants. And I think I've opened like 10 or 11 hotels.
Really?
Maybe more now.
Yeah.
And it's just luck, right? Some people just like take jobs at established places and they're like turnaround experts, or they keep the ship afloat or whatever. And just randomly like, my first, like we opened Fix at the Bellagio, which was my first job out of college. We opened Stack, then I got hired by Michael to open Strip Steak. I opened Revolution. I went back to Michael. I worked in San Francisco. We opened 12 more restaurants. I opened my own. I had a bunch of consulting clients who needed openings. I opened 2 more in LA. I opened a bunch with Kimpton. It's like you just fall into it. And the neat thing about that is you get to hire a lot of people. So you do a ton of interviews and you get to sort of see how they work very, very quickly. So you get this like really quick feedback loop, which to me is awesome. You get to try a lot of concepts. You get to see how guests respond to things. Sometimes how, different guests in different cities respond to the exact same product, which is really interesting. Like it just challenges you like if you work at one place for 10 years, you learn a lot. And there's a ton to that, right? It's like being able to grind and just know that there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Like when you're on an opening team, it's like sometimes things are really rough and you're just like, okay, I have a plane ticket home on this date. They're going to take it over and figure it out. And like when it's yours or when you're just working there and it like you're in charge, like there's no plane ticket out. Like you have to make it work. So I don't mean there's like no light at the end of the tunnel, but it's like there's no escape. Like if you want it to be good, you got to make it good. So they're really different skill sets. But, being able to do those openings, you just get so many iterations and you get to evolve through things. And you pick up patterns, like you have patterns fed to you faster than anyone else. And I think that was like a huge lever for me.
What do you look for when because you've opened a tremendous amount, you've been through X amount of scenarios, you've worked with a handful of people. When you're building your team around you and with all the experience you have, what's a quality or two that you look for when you're talking to them, interviewing with them?
At like high level team, so talk about like line level staff, the people who do the work every day. Like those are the hard jobs, right? And they deal with guests. The biggest thing is like they just have to be great people and nice, like no RBF, right? Like there's no, in what we do in our product today, there's no skill that is so technical that you can have a shitty look on your face at any point, right? Like you need to be friendly all the time, smiling, bubbly, warm, effusive, fill in the adjective.
That's more important than experience?
100%. Like we will build systems for training around people with aptitude and an amazing personality, it's like, what? So you're slightly better at checking someone into a room on a computer? Like, it's not that hard, you know, especially for us. You know, I mean, like, okay, you're a front desk agent at like MGM Grand. There's a million room types. You're using the system from, you know, like the Cold War. Nothing works. There's groups and billing. Like, for us, it's like, look, just like, they're tired. They drove 5 hours. You've done it. Like, you want to just get to your room. Like, you don't need to explain a lot. You don't need to tell them about like the hours and operate. Like, give them a key, get them to their room, get them taken care of. We can figure out all the computer shit on the back end. There's very few, you know, it's not that our jobs don't take skill, but like, again, we're making people happy. And then at a high level, it's like, you want people who can kind of think strategically. You know, it's about second, third, fourth, fifth order effects. I make this decision. What are the next 8 dominoes that are going to fall? So you want people who kind of can think like that or are capable of thinking like that. They also can hire and lead and motivate. And, you know, you try to look at them as like, they're just levers for me, right? Like, they're going to be better at their individual disciplines, and they make it so like, I don't have to do it, and it's done better than if I did it myself. That's like kind of what you're looking for.
That's great.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But they also need those, you know, same qualities. Like, you got to be able to take care of humans.
Absolutely. Well said. When we first started, even before we started recording, I asked you the correct pronunciation because I didn't want to get it wrong. You said "of the land." Is that where the name came from?
Yeah, so it's Ofland, like of the land, correct? Yeah.
What's the purpose behind that?
So, you know, when you're building these hotels, you've got a lot of choices in terms of, I guess, in the city too, right? But you have a lot of choices in terms of like the architecture of the building, and then for us, you know, in outdoor hotels, since there's so many structures, like how it sits and how it interacts with the land. And you can kind of be like very much on the land, or you can be, you know, very much of the land. So we try for the latter. So we have a couple new properties, hotels that are under development, and it's really important to us, like, that the architecture and the design and the way the whole hotel and its grounds lay out are really of the land. You know, we're not dropping like a giant box into these different cities or towns or, you know, beautiful natural surroundings.
What are some of the other locations that are coming up?
So we've got Tennessee and the Great Smoky Mountains. So that'll be next. We should be breaking ground on that in September. And then we are entitled in a property in Zion and sort of working on that development, but on the east side.
Are they all the same type of vibe as
Yeah, exactly, type of vibe, yeah. So there's only one sort of like 1 or 2 room types, you know, so there won't be like Airstreams or things like that. We sort of, you know, prototype through different cabins, I guess you could say. But the designs are totally different. So the hotel and the room, the property will feel like you're in the place that you are. But to your point, the vibe, they have drive-in theaters, the giant hot tub, you know, all those different, you know, the DIY meal kits, sort of, if not a food truck, a concession stand. You know, it's like, you'd like a great boutique hotel of, you know, where there's a few of them. Like, you go from one to the other, it shouldn't be the same, but you should be like, oh, there's something about this that definitely reminds me of the other. There's a through line and aesthetic that really works.
One of the coolest things about that I found was you have a drive-in theater, and you brought that up you just mentioned that. Where'd that idea come from?
So originally that hotel or property, I mean, it was like an RV park, like had the drive-in theater, and that was the drive-in theater for the town of Escalante.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and so we added a few more vintage cars. We moved some things around, but like that screen is original.
Yeah. I forgot. Is it the classic movies that you play, right? Or are they more?
Yeah, I mean, certainly no new releases. So, you know, we rotate through, like, we have a bunch of different genres, and then we rotate through different movies in each genre. So there's some, you know, kids and family stuff. There's some classics. I mean, you could see original Top Gun, but not Top Gun Maverick, you know, the Rockies, you know, Vegas Vacation, you know, any of, you know, I mean, Cars, right? Like, all the different things.
Were there any other elements of the RV park that you did keep outside of the drive-in theater?
Those Airstreams were at that RV park.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And what,
so we gutted them. They were themed. Like, so, you know, Airstreams typically have bathrooms. Those were very themed. We gutted them and then sort of reclad the inside a little bit, but we pulled the bathrooms because we built the bathhouses, and like, they're very airy. There's a ton of natural light, you know, it takes, because once you have all the structures inside an Airstream, you know, a bathroom, the kitchen, like, you lose it becomes a bit more claustrophobic.
Would you say a majority of the people that go there are like me, they're not outdoorsy and they go there to be outdoorsy, or would you say they are outdoorsy and they go there to continue to be?
We get everyone. I mean, you get people who are camping and
Yes.
they want a campsite or a room or a shower or whatever, but they've been camping for 2 weeks. You get people like you and like me, where it's like, I love to hike, but I don't want to sleep in a tent. I want air conditioning. I want a shower.
I want a roof over my head, some sort
Yeah,
of.
yeah. I want a comfortable bed. I want sheets.
Yes.
So you totally run the gamut. Same thing like age, right? You get these like multi-generational trips where you've got, kids, sort of parent or grandkids, I guess, parents, and then grandparents. And, we're pretty good from like 9 to 99, across like every gamut, as long as you want to be outdoors. And I guess you have a sense of adventure, I'd say, or at least a moderate sense of adventure.
How do you feel about the term glamping?
I'm good with it. Like, we don't use it ourselves outbound. I would never correct anyone who does. I think with glamping, people really think about like a tent, a yurt, a tree house. Like, they're thinking about like just the structure. I also think like a lot of those places don't have front deck. They don't run the same way as a hotel.
Right.
I don't want to coin it. We messed around with trying to like coin a term, and you're just fighting uphill.
What was the term?
We never got there at some point.
Oh, you didn't get
Yeah, I was like, this is a fool's errand. Like, we're going to work so hard. We're probably going to get a bunch of overpaid consultants. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be this whole thing. And then nobody's going to use it but us. And then every time someone writes about it in the media, we're going to get really annoyed and ask for a correction. And they're not going to do it. And like, what are we doing here? Like, we're again, like, this is one of those, like, you ask like the good lesson. Like, we're taking care of guests, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're just making people happy. Like, who cares? Like, call us whatever you want, like, if you enjoy yourself.
Exactly. Well,
Right? I mean, like, that's all that matters.
that's all that matters. You had a good time. You have good stories to tell.
Yeah.
A lot of our listeners, 90% plus of our demographic is Vegas locals. The drive is how long?
4.5 to 5 hours.
4.5, 5 hours.
Yeah.
Not that bad. I mean, it's
No, it's not nothing, but it's like,
Yeah.
the thing is, it's a pretty good, I lived in LA for a while, and then I've commuted between the two for consulting in both directions.
Sure.
And I mean, like, LA is parts of LA are a 5-hour drive. And
Yes.
like, when it's 5 hours, it's a miserable 5.
It's a
like
hard-
Utah's,
it's
like,
a hard 5.
like, this is a great 5. There's not a ton of traffic. It's absolutely stunning.
Great
These
views.
Scenic byways. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's like, yes, you can get to the beach in 5 hours, but that's a 3-hour drive packed into 5 hours.
What's the typical stay that you would recommend somebody?
I think, I
Say
think
party of 4, or like a family of 4, or a party of 2?
family of 4 is great. You can do it as a couple. You could do a couples trip. It's hard to limit that, right? Like, I think, like, I'm not just selling to everyone, but it really works for everybody. The big thing for me is we're a great base camp. Like, you can get to Bryce in 45 minutes from us, which, when you're in these national parks, like, it's nothing. There's Capitol Reef National Park. We're literally, like, I don't know, 300 yards from Petrified Forest State Park. There's a ton to do. I think, like, grab a couple people who kind of have the same appetite as you in terms
Sure.
of, do you want to go for beautiful drives? Do you want to go for hikes that are long? Do you want to, find people with like your threshold for adventure? And then I think 3 nights is kind of perfect, right? Like, you drive up and then you get 2 full days there, and then you drive back, and like, it's kind of perfect.
So when I went, I didn't have any complaints about the location. Location was fantastic. Staff was great. We went horseback riding.
Yeah.
And we went, you horseback ride and you go along like the cliffs and everything like that.
Through Bryce.
The only complaint that I have is because apparently I was overweight, they gave me a donkey instead of a horse.
Is this real?
This is a true story. So everybody else had a horse. I had a
I don't
donkey.
know if I should be angry at our team or just embarrassed for you. But like, I'm way fatter than you, so like, I'm not.
Have you done the horse riding?
No.
No.
'Cause I don't want to sit on a donkey.
Because you'd be on a donkey.
I didn't even realize that donkeys had like less capability to haul weight than a horse.
You know, I was the only one in the pack that, unless the joke was on me, unless
yeah.
there was the inside joke that I.
Whoever did that to you, if that was a joke, it's diabolical. It's absolutely diabolical.
Again, it's something so minuscule to them, but I still think about it X amount of years later.
See? You never know the impact that the small things you do are going to have on people.
So Ofland is definitely it's well established. You have a great reputation. You get great reviews. You've had influencers go there from Vegas that have had amazing times and say nothing but great things about it. But more importantly, you've won a handful of awards, right?
Yeah, we've been in the Travel and Leisure's best hotels in Utah in the top 10 or now it's I think 5, 2 or 3 times. We didn't enter one year because that was the year we used to be called Yonder.
Okay.
So we changed our name. So that was the one year where we didn't enter.
Do you think you would have won if you did?
You know, it's like it's chosen by your guests, so it's hard to know. I would hope we did a good enough job that year to have been considered. But you know, I mean, the really cool thing, and it's really a testament to our team there, is the other hotels that win this. I mean, it's like Amangiri, which is $3,000 a night. It's all of the, you know, Park City hotels, which are, you know, Montauk. I mean, stunning. Most of the hotels that are winning this stuff are 1,000 plus a night. You know, 4 digits, maybe high 3 digits. And you know, we're sitting there in like the 200s for a deluxe cabin and 100s for an Airstream or tiny cabin, that we can put out give people an experience that resonates with them enough for them to take the time to vote, is like really meaningful. But yeah, I think we're blessed to have an amazing team and amazing guests who really love what we do.
Now that you've won a handful of awards, is it something that you strive for each year, or is it just a happy bonus at the end of the year?
I mean, I'll be honest, like it's important. It's important to us to get them. It helps with growth for the hotel, right? Like it's easier to raise money for new projects. And one of the things we do for our team is you try to give them, if they want, a career path and growth trajectory.
Yeah.
So like that stuff definitely makes life easy. You know, if you look at my office, you're not going to see any of these things hanging.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it doesn't matter to me, but like, again, I want sort of happy people, both who work for us and who stay with us. That's a great question. You know, I think we always like to be in the running and like to be considered. And I know it's really important for the team and the people who actually do the work there. Like, I don't do that much day to day. You know, I'm not like, if I got hit by a bus, I think everything would be fine, you know, but there's a lot of folks who like are absolutely integral to the experience. And I think it's important to them.
Well said. Let me tell you something. If you got hit by a bus, this episode would skyrocket in views, by the way.
Shit.
This would be our
That
number one
right now. like hit and run. Is it on camera or
straight through the wall.
Okay, what a way to go. He died doing what he loved.
So you're obviously you work at it, and also, by the way, I completely agree with you in terms of doing it for the staff, like the staff feeling like they're working for something that is working, like they're working for something that has meaning. It's impacting other people's lives too.
It's good to win.
It really is. Like with me and my team, I have a very small team, but every time we get a compliment from a guest that's been on, or you know, a good review or something like that, I love showing it to them, because I want to show them that yes, obviously you're making money, you're having fun, we're having a good time, but also we are doing something that, you know, is making an impact that other people are seeing too. So I completely understand that, and that's such a great way of looking at when it comes to awards and stuff like that.
Yeah, it matters.
Yeah, it does. You're based out of, but you personally, you're not based out of Utah.
I live here.
You live in Vegas.
Yeah, our corporate team is mostly here.
How often do you go to the location?
I'm going tomorrow.
Ah.
I try to get up there every few weeks. In the beginning, I was there 5 days a week for the entire season, and then it was like 4 days, and then 3, and then every other week for a couple of days. Like it runs better when I'm not there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, you got to give people, or you got to give people space to do it. Like, you come in, you see a few things which are not because I'm better, it's because I'm detached. You know, I'm not in it. So like, I notice this stuff, and it's like, okay, let's talk about whether or not this should get fixed. And then they get to go do it on their priority list on a time frame. Sometimes I see stuff, I'm like, hey, this is like really integral to the brand, or this is, you know, you're on this much of the chessboard, you know, but we're trying to raise money or do these things to grow and grow you. So like, heads up, I kind of need these things, which might not be high on your list, like bump them in priority. Sure. But like, you got to give the team space. And, you know, I mean, you were a manager, right? You worked in restaurants. Like, it was great when your boss wouldn't be there, and like, you'd get to run the place and do your thing the way you wanted to. And, you know, if you're young and ambitious, like, you want the space to operate. Like, you don't want someone breathing down your neck.
So let's say 5 years from now, all the other locations are open. To you, what does success look like when it comes to having these multiple locations opening? What's success to you?
I mean, I think if, you know, these locations and hotels are making, you know, if they're performing with guests the way the current one is and making people that happy, and they're making money, as in like enough to be able to be on offense, not defense.
Right.
Right. Because like there's, you know, nobody goes into the hotel business to get into hospitality period to get wealthy, right? Like that's not a thing.
Absolutely true.
It doesn't matter what people think. You know,
Exactly.
it's like it is like these are and hotels, which did make a lot more money than restaurants. You know, like they've really been ground down in a lot of ways, and it's not a sob story. It's not what I'm here for, but you know, it's great to have a business, any business, no matter what you're in, where you make enough money to be able to be on offense and not defense. Like it really sucks. It's hard on your team to not be busy. It's hard on your team to have to cut costs that they shouldn't have to, right? Like where you're sort of like you've cut through fat and muscle, and now like you're into bone. Like that's a thing that happens. It's terrible. So like you just want to be at a place where, you know, it's self-sustaining, the investors are happy, the bank is happy, we're, you know, like we've taken care of our stakeholders and we're able to take care of our team and our guests. And like, again, go on offense. What cool stuff can we do to drive revenue, to make people happier, to give a better experience? Like that's really the goal.
It's so true. Going on offense is so spot on, because I feel like when you're able to focus on doing more, offering more, giving more, as opposed to, just like you said, being on defense and worrying about
Fighting
this and
off your
that.
back foot sucks.
It really does.
And like I've had too many of those businesses where it's just like,
Is that the new norm now, though, with hospitality?
I don't know. I mean, clearly, I mean, like, you know, James kills it, right? I think you can certainly do well. Like you need to be busy. Like you need a product and an experience that resonates with people. And if you're busy, it's easy to stay, not easy to stay busy. It's much easier to be good and stay busy and do a great job. And if you're not busy, you have to make some really hard decisions, which is like, am I going to be penny wise and pound foolish, long game, short game, you know, all those euphemisms.
Yeah. What was the reaction like when you guys did decide to move to Escalante or plant down there? Was it positive? Were there some
The
pushback?
town has been pretty great and supportive.
Really?
That area is really interesting because it's been, you know, burgeoning. Opening in 21 was a great time, right? Everyone sort of had cabin fever from COVID. You know, like people just wanted to get out. Utah was doing great. It opened up a little earlier. I mean, I remember I lived in Houston at the time. My partner's there, and so I would get on a 5 a.m. flight from Houston and fly to Salt Lake and then rent a car and drive.
Yeah.
And I remember the car rental prices in Salt Lake were like astronomical.
Sure.
And randomly, for some reason, I decided to fly into Vegas instead. And, you know, I mean, I'd lived here for 6-7 years and I didn't even think about it. I just rented a car and went. I was like, oh my God, like the car rental in Salt Lake was $400 a day.
Yeah.
If you could get one. And the car rental in Vegas was like $25. And then, you know, I started coming through here more because, like, we'd have to land and you'd go to Home Depot and a pool supply. Like, you'd just sort of run errands in a big city.
Right.
And then I'd bring it up and come back. And then, you know, I had friends here and I started coming through here. But Utah, especially, that was a really stupid rabbit hole. Utah, especially, was like blowing up, you know. And what happened is there was so much demand at the big national parks that then people started looking at the slightly smaller national parks and state parks. And like we're in the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, which is like 1 million+ acres. I mean, it is so unexplored, and generally like the hikes are so dead. You know, like you can go on these beautiful places that are largely untouched versus like the Narrows at Zion where you know, like it's a lottery system, right? I mean, like it's so different, and there's just been more attention brought to it. So I think in general, like these towns have just been getting busier, period. And people, I mean, it seems to be resonating. You know,
It really is.
People are happy. We try to be, wherever we're opening, we try to be great neighbors.
That's great.
You know, I mean, I think that's important. You know, that's a lesson I've learned from restaurants too. Like you want to be a good neighbor.
Be a good neighbor.
Yeah.
I like that. I'll tell you what, all things considered, I've learned a lot business-wise from this conversation.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
really
sure I
have.
would file any of it away.
Well, too late. I already filed all of it. Any chance of any other Ofland locations maybe moving a little closer to Vegas, or is Utah as close as we're going to get?
I mean, Zion's a bit closer, right? You know, we tried to look, like we were looking sort of like, you know, Red Rock, Mount Charleston. It's hard to find a nice piece there. We looked in Joshua Tree, which is about as far as Zion, maybe a little closer. We actually just pulled out of that one.
How many hoops do you have to jump through if you find a spot?
Depends on where you are. Like East Zion was great because, you know, we went there. I think I'm probably going to tell the story wrong, but, you know, my head of development went in front of the county to county or city like planning to get approved.
Yeah.
And I think there's 5 people on the committee, and like 3 or 4 of them had stayed with us in Escalante. So they're like, great, we love this. We know who you are. It's a small world. You go to Tennessee, and then we're further. Nobody knows. Nobody stayed with us, right? So they're sort of like looking at the website and looking at reviews. And then in California, it's really difficult. But it really depends on like the microcosm you're in. So like, what's the city or town? What's the county? What state you're in? How all those how the various entitlement laws work, and what type of piece of land you buy, how it's zoned. I mean, it's
the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't deal with it too much. It's highly, highly complex, and like you are jumping, at minimum, you're jumping through, I'd say, a lot of hoops, and at most, like we did get entitled in 29 Palms, which was near Joshua Tree National Park.
Yeah,
and that took years, and was really difficult, and the city got sued because of it. And in the meantime, like that market's just been a little tough from a demand perspective. So it's all over the place.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's no one size fits all.
This is why you hire people that know what they're doing, and you work with people that are much more experienced and much more well versed at situations such as that.
Totally. I would be lost.
I'm good at a lot of things, but I surround myself with people that are much better at specific things, and that just makes life so much easier.
So much better.
Yes. Well, Noah, this was awesome, man. I'm not an outdoorsy person at all, but I would absolutely 1,000% go back and stay with you guys for another 3-4 days, however long. And
yeah, we'd love to have you.
And this time I'm riding a fucking horse.
Yeah, we'll see. At this point, like the joke is better if actually like I could get you up every year, promise you a horse, and only get you a donkey or like different
get
animals.
Donkeys.
Yeah, like that would be like the ultimate troll if I could do that to you. And it's pretty tempting for me to like really put some effort in.
You know what? I respect the effort. For somebody to go that far for a joke, I respect the hell out of it.
Anything worth doing, we're doing well, right?
Well, Noah, this is awesome. Make sure. I'm just stuck with a donkey for the next 10
for the
years.
rest of your life.
The rest of my life, it's just donkeys.
So you don't know this, but you're going outside and like your car's been replaced.
My car's gone. It's just donkeys. Ofland Escalante, Ofland.com, Ofland Hotels on Instagram, and all the social platforms. Man, Noah, this was awesome. I really do appreciate you coming in and sharing not only just the wisdom and what you've learned and your experiences, and definitely the Chef James Tree stories, but also sharing more about the locations that you have and that are upcoming. It's such a great time. For anybody listening, then you want a weekend getaway or just a romantic getaway, even just get away with your friends. Yeah. It's such a great experience.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Julie, got any last words before we get out of here?
No, but I
Yeah, bring
Please
your
come.
husband. You're allergic to horses, so only donkeys. Only donkeys for Julie.
See, that's going to ruin the joke.
I know. Then the whole BigHead team gets donkeys. It's a whole thing. We'll catch new episodes each week on HeyBigHead.com. This was fun, Noah. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you then.
Nice. Thanks.
That was good. That was fun.